So hi everybody, welcome, whether you're joining me live now or whether you're watching this as a recording. This is the first in a 4-week series that we're doing myofascial release with some Vinyasa, just to help to work through different parts of the body while we're all really sedentary at the moment in this new reality that we're living in. So I'm really glad that you're joining. This week we're going to be looking at the hip, so a really targeted practice today all around the hips, really juicy. And we're going to start on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana. Make sure you've got your 2 balls close to you so that you can grab them in a moment, somewhere easily accessible. So bring yourselves onto your backs, bring the soles of your feet together, and just allow your knees to fall wide. And settle yourself down, take a moment just to land. And then bring your awareness down into your pelvic bowl. So bring the awareness to that big basket-like bone that makes up that area we call the hips. And just notice for yourself how it feels at the beginning of the practice here. So just notice the front side and the side and the back side. Notice how far up the back of the body the hip travels. It's actually a really large piece of tissue. Observe any sensation that's happening for you in that area, those 3 bones that make up this basket, this pelvic basket. And then bring the awareness to the breath and just gently start to carry your breath in through your nose and direct it down into the hips. So each time you inhale here, draw the breath across the nostrils and down deep into that basket of bone. And with each in-breath, feel the bones move away from each other. So there's this sense of expansion. We're beginning to create a little bit of freedom with the breath before we move into any activity. Really nice, everyone. Taking one more breath here. Good. And then drawing the thighs to close, so drawing the knees up towards each other. Just have the feet come and rest flat on the floor so the knees are pointing up. And then grabbing your balls, and I just want you to take the balls under the lumbar spine into the deepest arch of your lumbar spine. So that kind of lowest part where the arch is really deep before you hit the bones at the top of the pelvis. And just allow your weight to come down onto the balls, and you want the balls to be just either side of the spine. So not on the spine, but just about half an inch or so wide of the spine, lateral to the spine. And allow the weight of the body to come down onto the balls. And you can feel the balls just penetrating into the tissues there. And now this might be strong enough for you. You might be like, this is plenty in terms of weight on the balls. If you're not feeling very much at this stage, you might want to just grab one knee and then the other knee and just bring the weight of the hips and the legs on top of the balls, so the feet come off the mat. And I'm not pulling the legs in towards the chest, I'm just kind of resting myself up on top of the balls so that I'm penetrating a little deeper with a little bit more weight here on the balls. And whether you've got the legs up or down, then maybe just taking a little bit of a rock from right to left. So just really gently shifting from one side to the other. Noticing how tender or not this part of the tissue of the lower back is. Good. Take another breath. And then come back to center and just pop the feet back down on the ground if you've got them lifted. If you've got them on the floor already, just keep them there. And then we're going to lift ourselves up and come onto our forearms. So the balls are still underneath you in the same place. And we're just going to begin to lift the hips and move ourselves forward and back on the balls. So it's like a really gentle movement, forward and backwards. And you can think of it as you're kind of squeezing or pushing the fluid out, moving it from one place to another. You might find that the balls kind of come out to the sides of the hips a little bit, and you might need to kind of pop them back in. We're moving over there. Good. Take another couple of breaths here as you roll. Lovely. And then bring the hips back down. Keep the balls where they are. Bring the head and the chest back down. And then you're going to let the right knee just fall out to the right side. And then you're going to shift yourself a little bit towards the right side with the weight of the body. You might need to move around to find this point that we're going to work with next. We're going to work deeply into what's known as the QL muscle. So it's towards the right side and up on the back of the hip. And it's a bit of an all or nothing point. So you'll probably feel it quite quickly once you've found it. And you can keep the head and the chest down on the ground, or if you want to, you can always lift yourself up again onto the forearms there. And take another breath. Good, and then we'll switch sides. So bring yourself all the way back up. And just come back to a place of balance. If you need to pop the balls back in a little bit, then do that. And then allow the left knee to fall out to the left side. And again, just shift yourself over a little bit so that the weight comes over until you can find that QL muscle, that tender spot. It's quite a ropey muscle, and it's quite a deep muscle. So once you've got it, you'll know that you've got it. And again, just pause here, breathing. You can be up on the forearms, or you can be flat on the ground with the head and the chest. Good. Take one more breath. And then inhaling, come all the way back up with the legs. Just remove both of the balls for a moment and just lie yourself down in Shavasana. Extend the legs out. And just take a moment here in Shavasana just to observe, just to notice if the hips feel any different at this stage already. Comparing in your mind the right side sensation and left side sensation. Good. And then we're going to do one more myofascial technique before we move into a bit of flow here, just to kind of release the tissues before we start. So bend up the knees. And you're going to push down through the feet and lift the hips. And then you're going to place the two balls right in the bullseye of your bottom cheeks. So if you imagine a darts board, and just place the balls right in the middle there. And then bring the weight of the pelvis down onto the balls. And again, this can be really tender for most bodies. So if this is enough, then just stay here. If you want to, you can just allow the knees to fall in together to touch in constructive rest, which is going to deepen the sensation a little bit for most. Or if you're still not feeling very much here and you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can take your right ankle and place it over your left knee. And take a couple of deep breaths here. And then maybe just shift the weight a little bit further to the right side. So whether you've got the ankle on the knee or not, just shift the weight over again towards the right side. Find a slightly different spot here. Keep breathing. And then inhale, come back to center. Unravel the legs if you've got them up. And then just remove the balls. Before we come to the left side, I just want you to observe again. So extend the legs back out into Shavasana. And just notice the right side compared to the left side now. Maybe it feels closer to the ground. Maybe one leg feels longer than the other. Maybe one leg feels lighter than the other. Great, and then coming back up with the knees, and we'll take that final side. So feet are flat on the floor. Find the bullseye again in the bottom cheek. Bring the weight of the pelvis down onto the balls. And then again, you've got the choice. You can stay just like you are here. You can bring the knees into touch, or you can take that left ankle and place the left ankle over the right knee. And take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then slightly moving to the left side, so kind of 45 degrees towards the left side. Just shift the weight over onto that left ball slightly. You might even want to kind of waggle the tailbone a little bit. You're wagging your puppy tail. And then just hold here for a few more breaths and breathe. Good. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then unravel yourselves. Remove the balls. Just lay them to the side. And again, lengthen the legs out for Shavasana. Shut the eyes. This myofascial work, so important to take time to stop and observe when we're doing this work, because this fascial tissue is a sensory tissue. So the only way that we can really understand how we're working with it is through sensing. Allowing the breath to begin to travel back down into the pelvic basket. Allowing that to be your focus again now. There's this wonderful quote from a German philosopher, Viktor Frankl. He says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. that in mind, bring the soles of the feet together again, let the knees fall wide, Supta Baddha Konasana, and then just take the hands and place the hands inside of the inner thigh. So your hands are just on the inner kind of thigh groin area. And as you hold in Supta Baddha Konasana this time with the hands on the inner thigh, you can breathe down into the pelvic bowl. And as you exhale, gently see if you can spread the skin of the inner thigh away from the groin towards the knees. Take a couple of deep breaths there. And then keeping the left leg and left hand where it is, take the right foot up and grab the outside of the right foot for half happy baby. Allow the sole of that right foot to come towards the ceiling and draw down with the hands. And then notice what's happening with your right arm and right shoulder. And see if you can plug the right arm stick into the shoulder socket. And try and flatten the back of the right shoulder towards the floor. Keep that. And then again, encourage the skin of the inner left thigh away from the groin towards the left knee. Take another breath. Good. Bring the right foot back down, back to Supta Baddha Konasana. Take a breath there. And we'll switch sides. So grabbing the outside of the left foot, right hand on inner right thigh. Exhale here and then draw the left arm stick into the shoulder socket and flatten the left shoulder against the floor. Really allowing you to work deeply into that left hip. And then same as we did on the other side, use that right hand to spread the skin of the inner right thigh away towards the right knee. Take another breath. Good. Inhale back to Supta Baddha Konasana. Exhale there. And then inhale, take the right foot up again for half happy baby. And if this is challenging enough for you, then just stay here in half happy baby, just as we did before. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, take your two peace fingers around your right big toe. Inhale, and then as you exhale, slowly begin to extend the right leg out to the right side of the mat. So lateral rather than vertical. And really try and push the right heel away from the left inner thigh as you encourage the skin on the left inner thigh towards the left knee with the left hand. Take another few breaths. Good. Back to Supta Baddha Konasana. Exhale there, and then switching to the left side. So half happy baby again. Take a breath. And then peace fingers, if you want to take it deeper, around the big toe and extending the left leg towards the left side of your mat. Really encouraging the left heel away from the groin. Take another breath. Good. Inhale. Coming back to center. Exhale, release. Good. Inhale. This time you're going to bring both legs up and cross the legs over into eagle legs. So Garudasana legs. Right knee on top of left. That might be enough. If you want to, you can take the double wrap. So you're still reclined and you're wrapping your legs like twisted roots. And then interlace the hands behind the head. Take the elbows and point them up towards the ceiling. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring the head and the chest off the floor. And then as we inhale next, we're going to lift the tailbone so the pelvis tilts forward, and you're going to bring the elbows in towards the knees. Inhale, and then exhale, just release it back down. We'll take that 3 more times. So you're using the core muscles to lift you up, pelvis tilts, tailbone lifts. Exhale back. Good. Twice more. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in.
Breathing out. Good. Keep the head and the chest off the floor. Open the elbows now wide towards the sides of your mat. So you're going to do the same thing, but this time with the elbows wide. You'll access a slightly different part of the abdominals. So inhale, bring everything into the center, curl the tailbone up, and then exhale, release. Twice more. Inhale, exhale, and again, inhale, exhale. Good. Release. Come through a brief happy baby. Take a breath there. And then we'll switch sides. So wrap left leg on top of right. And again, either the single wrap or the double wrap, your choice. Interlace your hands behind your head. Bring the head and the chest off the floor. Elbows are pointing up towards the ceiling to start with. And then inhale, lift the pelvis, curl the tailbone up, and exhale, come back. And again, inhale, and exhale. 2 more. 1 more. Good. Keep the head and the chest off the floor. Take the elbows wide. And then 3 more. Inhale, crunch up. Exhale, release. Inhale, crunch up. Exhale, release. 1 more time. Good. Unravel. Hug the knees in. And then crossing the ankles, you can just begin to rock and roll yourself all the way up. Eventually taking yourself over to down dog. So coming straight up and over. Once you get into down dog, I want you to bend the left knee, really actively keep the right leg straight. And then I want you to try and kind of create a little bit more space in the front side of the right ankle. So you're kind of opening the front side of the right ankle and then lift the right sit bone up a little bit more. Draw it further away from your right hand. Good, take another breath. Inhale, back to down dog. Exhale there. Inhale, draw yourself through to plank. Take a pause when you get to plank and just notice the weight of the pelvic basket. Notice how you need to support it with the belly muscles, and then exhale and bring yourself back to down dog. Good, actively bending into the right knee this time. Create some space on the front side of the left ankle. And then lift the sit bone up on the left side more. Push away through the left hand even more. Good, 1 more breath. Inhale, come back to down dog. Exhale there. Inhale through to plank. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. Good. Same thing. So we're going to bend through the left knee really actively. Right leg is straight. And then you're going to turn the right heel in towards the midline of your mat. So the toes turn out kind of 45 degrees and the right heel turns in. And then you're going to use the hands, push away through the hands, and try and turn the upper body towards the right side of the mat as you draw your right sit bone up and away. Keep breathing here. Take another breath. Good. Inhale. Come all the way back to down dog. Exhale there. And then inhale, step the right foot through between the hand and bring the back knee down onto the ground. And then with this first variation of low lunge, I want you to step your right foot back so that you've got a nice kind of right angle in the legs rather than being low and forward in the lunge. And there's a reason for this. So untuck the back toe, lengthen the tailbone down, knit your front ribs in. I mean, you can use your hands even to help you there so you can really get that sensation. Knitting the front ribs in. And then I want you to keep that and lift the arms. And notice how when you're lifting the arms here and you're knitting the front ribs in and you're pushing actively through the top of the back of the left foot, that you're really working into the front of the hip. Good. Take another breath. Inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Inhale, step to plank. Your choice. You can either come through a vinyasa at this stage, moving slowly, or you can come straight back to downward facing dog. Up to you. Getting back to downward facing dog, take a breath, and then we'll switch sides. So you're going to bend actively into the right knee, and then you're going to turn the left heel in towards the midline of your mat. And you're going to push actively through the hands and draw the left sit bone up and away, and then turn the upper body towards the left side of the mat. So it's almost like you're kind of peeking under your armpit here. Take another breath. Good. Inhale back to down dog. Exhale there. And then the left foot steps through for a low lunge. Back knee down. And again, if you need to just walk that front foot back a little bit so you create this nice right angle with the legs, then do that for yourself. We're going to work into a deeper lunge in a minute. Untuck your back toe and actively push down through the top of the back foot there. And then knit the front ribs in. Keep that and lift the arms. And breathe. Take another inhale. Good. Exhale, plant the hands down. Step to plank. Inhale. And again, yogi's choice. You can either take yourself through a vinyasa, or you can take yourself straight back to downward facing dog. We'll be in down dog for 5 breaths. And as you come back to downward facing dog and pause there, I want you to take your awareness back into the pelvic bowl. And just notice for yourself the space that you've begun to create. How it's already feeling different in the front side and the side and the back side. Good, nice, my friends. On your next inhale, take your left hand and grab your right shin or your ankle. Find somewhere that you can grab. And then twist yourself in and underneath your right armpit. Trying to keep the shins parallel, trying to keep the pelvis square to the mat, and allowing the twist to come through the side body. Draw the right hip back as you push through the left, through the right hand. Take another breath. Good. Inhale back to center, down dog. Exhale. And then the right foot will step through again, back knee down. This time we're going to take a deeper lunge, but I want you to keep that integrity that we worked with through the first lunge. So untuck the back toe, lengthen the tailbone down. So you want the tailbone to almost feel like it's lower than the pubic bone, if you can kind of sense that in your body. Keep the front ribs hugging in and then lift the arms. Take a breath there. And then taking the right hand either to your hip, or you could grab your brick. Reach up through the left fingers and take yourself over to a lateral stretch towards your left side. And as you hold here, take your awareness to your ring finger and see if you can reach the ring finger even further over towards the sides of the mat there. So it's like you're drawing yourself into the side bend through your ring finger. Good, one more breath. Inhale, come all the way back to center, plant the hands, step to plank. And again, your choice. You can either move through a vinyasa or you can come straight back into downward facing dog. Good. Switching sides. Right hand grabs left shin or ankle. Inhale, push the floor away actively through that left hand. Draw the left hip back. Twist yourself in and underneath your left armpit. Take another breath. Good. Back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale there. Inhale, step the left foot through between the hand, back knee down. And again, this time you can be quite deep in this lunge. But I want you to support the lumbar spine. So I want you to send the tailbone down and make sure that the pubic bone feels like it's higher than the tailbone. And then once you've got that support, you can take yourself a bit deeper into the lunge. Front ribs in, arms high, inhale. And then either left hand to a brick or left hand to the hip, reach the right arm over, guiding yourself into the side bend with your ring finger. So reaching as far as you can through that ring finger, and notice how that kind of targets a slightly different part of the side body, slightly different part of the hip. Good, one more breath. Come all the way back up, inhale, plant the hands, step to plank, vinyasa or down dog, your choice. Moving slowly. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. Asking yourself how it is that you're responding to these poses, to this practice that's really targeted. Maybe this part of your body is a part that challenges you. How do you respond to that challenge? Good. From downward facing dog, gaze between your hands. You can step or jump yourself to the top of the mat. Inhale, extend the rib cage away from the hips. Draw the hips back. Draw the inner thighs back. Take a breath there. And then exhale, bow. Come to standing as you breathe in. And again, taking the arms all the way up, try and lift the rib cage away from the hips and send the hips down and towards the feet. Hands can come into prayer. Good. Inhale, again, lift up, hips down, rib cage up. Exhale, fold yourself over. Half forward bend, Ardha Uttanasana. Again, drawing the hips away from the rib cage, creating space. And then plant the hands and you can step or jump yourself back. Plank or chaturanga. Lower yourself down, knees, chest and chin, if you wish, or rolling. And then curl the shoulders back as you lift up into cobra or upward facing dog. And then down dog. Good. On your next in-breath, my friends, bring your knees down onto the ground. Come to all fours. And then you're going to inhale and you're going to extend your right leg back behind you. I want you to push through the heel. I want you to make sure that the right hip is level with the left. So you're not externally rotating. You're facing down with the hip points. And then draw the ribs in again. So you're knitting the front ribs in. That's supporting you with the belly. You're going to keep that. You're going to bring the knee in towards the core without arching the back. So you've got to support yourself with the front ribs. And then take the right leg out to the side.
like an L shape to the right side. So you're externally rotating here, thigh and hip socket, and then you're going to send the leg all the way back to where it began. And you're going to do that again 3 more times with the breath. So breathing in without arching through the spine, inhale, take the leg out to the side, and then exhale it back. And again, inhaling and exhaling. So you're moving through this internal and external rotation in the hip. One more time. Good. Extend the leg back when you get there. Tuck the left toes and then push yourself back into scissor dog. Use the hands and the core to lift you up. Inhale. Exhale. Keeping the right leg lifted, you're going to move yourself into plank pose. So you're in 3-legged plank. And now if anyone's really challenged here, you can always come back with the knees on the ground. We're going to do the same thing. So knit the front ribs in, draw the knee in towards the chest, and then take the right leg out to the side. Send it back. And again, inhale. And then exhale. One more time. Inhale, scissor dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Hello, hips. Inhale, bring the knees down. Cat and cow, soften the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, push through the hands. And again, cat and cow. One more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale back to a flat back. We'll take that on the other side. So extend the left leg back. Again, make sure you're pushing through the left heel, knit the front ribs in, drop the left hip point so it's level with the right. Keep that. Without arching the spine, draw the knee in. Take it out to the side and then back. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. 1 more. Good. Tuck your right toe. Keep that leg extended. Scissor dog. Push all the way up and back. Exhale there. Keep the leg extended. Bring yourself into plank. Remember, you can lower the knee if you need to. Same thing. Knit the front ribs in. Draw the knee in. Inhale. And then take it out and back. Exhale. Twice more. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. Scissor dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a breath. Good. Gaze between your hands. You can lightly step or jump yourself forward. Lift and lengthen halfway. And then bow yourself over the legs. Good. Utkatasana, chair pose. Coming up. And just notice for me if you're kind of hanging out in the belly. Like we did in the low lunge, I want you to send the tailbone down. So you're lengthening it towards the floor, which is helping you switch on the belly muscles there. Good. Take another breath. Inhale. And then exhale, fold. Lift and lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. You can step or jump yourself straight back to plank. Move yourself through a flow. As soon as you come back to downward dog, step the right foot between the hands and pop the left foot down. We're going to move into Virabhadrasana A, Warrior 1, which is a great pose for the hips, as are all the warrior poses, I say. So think about your car headlights. Keep them on the road. If you need to widen the gate of the feet, you can. Have a nice bend in that front knee and draw the right hip back. And then take the arms overhead and try and lift the rib cage off the hips. Now focus on the hips. Take another breath. Good. Inhale. Plant the hands, exhale. Inhale to plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale to a back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. And then downward facing, exhale. The left foot steps straight through again. Virabhadrasana A on the other side, warrior one. Coming up. And again, you can always use the hands here if you need to kind of guide you a little bit. I'm a big fan, as you all know, of copping a feel. Working it out with the hands. Good, take another breath. Inhale, plant the hands down. Again, vinyasa, or you can move straight into downward facing dog. Your choice. We'll hold in down dog for 4 or 5 breaths. We want you to try and create a little bit more space on the front side of the hip here. So really actively send the bones of the thighs into the fibers at the backs of your legs. Take another breath. Good. Inhale, right leg scissors. Step it through between your hands and then bring the left foot up and slightly wide. We're going to move into pyramid pose. And you may, if you have a brick, and you may want to take it under your hands. Give yourself a little bit of height, depending on how the hips are feeling at this stage. So again, like with Virabhadrasana A, the hips want to square towards the top of the mat. Actively push down through your feet. Hug the inner thighs towards each other. And notice how that adductor stream, that inner thigh muscle stream, helps to then give you a little bit of lift through the front of the hips as you lengthen the spine forward. Good. Inhale again here, and then exhale, fold yourself over that front leg. Take another breath. Good. Inhale, coming all the way up. Straight into reverse warrior. So draw the right hand back towards the back of the mat. Have a nice bend in this front knee. Make sure the front knee sits on top of the front ankle. And then take your awareness again to the pelvic bowl, the pelvic basket. I like to think of it more as a basket because it's got 3 bones. If it was 1 bone, it would be more like a bowl, right? So using the inner thighs, see if you can draw the legs out of the hips. So you're creating this space in the pelvic bowl. And that space gives you this buoyancy through the chest. Allows you to breathe a bit deeper. Allows you to tap into that sense of freedom that Viktor Frankl's talking about in his quote. Good, nice everyone. Inhale, come all the way up and through to side angle. First variation we're going to take is just regular side angle. So the left arm can be directly up or it can be over your ear. I don't mind. But again, I want you to think about these thigh bones drawing out of the hips. And with that space that you're creating, you're giving yourself more freedom to then move into the twist. Take another breath. Good. Slowly push into the back leg, slowly push into the front leg, straighten the front leg, Trikonasana, triangle pose. And again, that sensation of the inner thighs and the inner groins moving away from each other allows you to open heart to the sky. Good, 1 more breath. Good, we're going to come back into side angle, and this time we're going to move into a bind. So really working into the hips. Yay, juicy. So set yourself up. Take your right arm underneath your right leg and your left arm behind you. And if you can't quite grab your hands, you can just grab your t-shirt. But make sure that you're kind of moving into this shape. Good. And then often we have to misalign with a bind to get into it. Like, so our right hip here will stick out a little bit potentially. So I want you all to draw the right hip into the midline of your mat and use that traction of the arms in the hip to then lift the chest more. And more. And a bit more. Good. Take a breath. Oh, hello hips. Lovely. Keep the bind. And then see if you can bring your left leg and just hop it in a little bit. And maybe, going to come into half moon pose with the bind. So maybe just onto the toe. Not for me today. Maybe you can lift the left leg. Just have a little bit of a play. And then come back. Unravel the arms. Turn towards your left leg and sit yourself down into goddess pose. Ooh. Right arm comes over left. Palms together. Forearms together. Groins away from each other. Tailbone down. Same thing. Knit the front ribs in. Breathing here. Good. Inhale, unravel. Turn back towards your right foot, towards the top of your mat. And you can step back to down dog. You can take a vinyasa. You might want child's pose at this stage. Your choice. Whether you're in child's pose or down dog as your resting place, just notice now the right hip compared to the left. So notice how one side feels compared to the other. Good. And then we'll move on to the left side. So same thing. Left leg is going to step between the hands for pyramid, back foot up and wide. Grab your brick if you need to, place it under your hands. And then push the floor away through both feet and actively hug the inner thighs towards each other. So it's almost like you're kind of scissoring, you're drawing shut your scissors, your set of scissors. And then send the back of the pelvis back to the back of the mat and lengthen forward with your spine. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, folding over the left leg. Take a breath. Remove your brick if you've got it. Come all the way up and straight into reverse warrior. Exhale. And I'm just going to turn myself around so I can see you guys. Use my other leg. So left arm comes back. Inner groins move apart. Feel that stability that you're creating in the hip. One more breath. Good. And then come up and through to side angle. Just the first variation without the bind to begin with. Scoop your left tailbone underneath you. Left sit bone. Lift the chest. Good. Take another breath. Notice if you've forgotten about your back leg, push actively down into the back foot. And then slowly, slowly start to straighten the front leg and come into Trikonasana. Good, nice everyone. Take another breath. You're doing really well. Come back into side angle, bend into that left knee, and then this time we're going to take the bind. So taking the left arm underneath you, right arm behind you. And again, notice if you have to misalign, hug the left hip in, and then lift the chest. Drawing the back of the right shoulder back Take another few breaths. Good. And then maybe trying half moon with the bind. So keep the bind and then just tap that back leg in a little bit. Bring yourself onto the toes of the right foot. And then maybe lifting the leg. Or not. Not today, maybe. One more breath. Good. Turn back towards your left foot, top of the mat. Plant the hands. A final vinyasa if you want one, or straight to down dog. Good. And then from downward facing dog, jump yourself through to a seat and roll yourself straight down onto your back. Draw the knees in, stack right knee on top of left, and then grab the shins or the ankles somewhere. Recline to Gomukhasana, Supta Gomukhasana. As you hold here, I want you to take the ankles of both legs and draw them away from each other. So you're taking them to the sides of the mat, lateral to the sides of the mat. And when I do this in my body, I find that I tap into a really different part of the hip, like on the underneath side. So just notice that action for yourself and see what you're targeting with that movement. Soften your tailbone towards the floor. Take another breath. And then pop the left foot just down on the ground and bring the right ankle on top of the left knee. And then without using your hands, just draw the legs in towards the chest. So you're using the power of the left thigh to draw you into this hip opener. Good, one more breath. And then pop the left foot down. And keeping that shape, put that figure four shape in the legs, pick up the hips, move them slightly to the right side, and then send the right foot to the floor. So the right knee is pointing upwards. Tapping straight back into the breath, slowing it down. Regulating it. Allowing it to create space. Allowing it to be that stimulus. That stimulus that helps you to tap into freedom. Good, engage the belly, come back. Left side, so left knee stacks on top of right. Supta Gomukhasana, draw the knees in towards you. Hands are on the shins or the ankles. And then once you're there, just really gently, again, draw the hands and the ankles away from each other. So lateral to the sides of your mat. Gentle tug. And then with that gentle tug, notice what's happening with the tailbone and soften it towards the floor. So the back of the sacrum is flattening into the ground. Take another breath. Good, bring the right foot to the ground. Left ankle on top of right knee. And then without using the hands, again, see if you can draw the legs in towards you.
So flexing both feet at the ankles to support the knee joints, and then allowing the power of that right thigh to open the left hip. Good, and then right foot comes back to the ground. Just pick up the hips and shift them slightly to the left side. And then allow yourself to twist towards the right side. Left foot comes to the floor. As you actively slow the breath down here, you may want to use a count. I've been using counting breath a lot in my practice in the last few months. I found it's been a really useful focus. So maybe taking the breath in for 4 and out for 5 or 6. Counting yourself in for 4 and out for 5 or 6. Just gently engage belly. Bring yourself back. Unravel the legs. And your choice, you can either come to Shavasana with the legs extended, or you can come back to Supta Baddha Konasana for your Shavasana, with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. And whichever option you're choosing, just lightly place your hands on the bony extremities on the front of your hips. So you can feel a bit of weight there on the pelvic basket. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom.
Allowing your awareness now to settle back on the physical body. Allowing your awareness to settle down into the pelvic bowl. And observing for yourself how this targeted work has affected your mind space. How intricately connected we are on all these different sheaths or layers of our bodies. And as you slowly deepen the breath, take the breath down into that basket of bone, the hips, the pelvic bowl. And then just draw yourself off to a side of, doesn't matter which, and support yourself and come to a seat. And see if you can make a commitment to yourself to notice your responses to stimulus over the next couple of days. And finding that space that Viktor Frankl talks of between the stimulus and the response that you give. Notice how allowing yourself that space gives you a different sense of freedom. Just bow the forehead down. So lovely to have so many of you practicing with me today. Such an honor. Wherever you are in the world, and whether you're watching this now with me or on a recording at another stage, so much love. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope you can join me next week. We'll be working next week on the spine, so some targeted myofascial work and a flow for the spine. Lots of love. Namaste.